The Paxton Boys murdered an entire native community and were never successfully punished for it. Within only a few years, we begin seeing similar cases of frontier violence where perpetrators were either protected or freed by other settlers. This event shows us how fear and prejudice with government could turn into violence, and how failing to punish that violence could encourage it to happen again. Historians studying the Paxton crisis have similarly connected the lack of accountability to later frontier violence. The Conestoga Indians were a small native community living near Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Men, women, and children living near their white neighbors, trading and interacting with the surrounding community in day-to-day life as they had for generations. At this moment, in December 1763, only about 20 Conestoga Indian people remained. The Paxton Boys were primarily frontier settlers from the region around Paxton and Lancaster. Many were Scots-Irish, and some were associated with local militia groups. The French and Indian War had just ended. Pontiac's War was underway, and Pennsylvania's frontier had experienced native raids, deaths, destroyed homes, and enormous insecurity. Many frontier settlers also believed that the colonial government in Philadelphia was not protecting them adequately, but instead of limiting their retaliation to the native groups actually fighting them, some settlers increasingly began treating native people collectively as the enemy. On December 14, 1763, more than 50 armed men went to the Conestoga settlement. Only 6 Conestoga were present, 3 men, 2 women, and a boy. The Paxton men killed all 6 and burned the settlement. The 14 remaining Conestoga were gathered by local authorities and taken to Lancaster, where they were placed inside the workhouse for their protection. On December 27, 1763, that protection failed. Another armed group rode into Lancaster. They entered the workhouse, where the surviving Conestoga had been placed, and within minutes, all 14 were murdered. The Conestoga had been wiped out. John Penn condemned the killings, ordered the perpetrators apprehended, and even offered rewards for their capture. Nobody was successfully brought to justice. The public reaction was divided. Many people, especially in frontier communities, sympathized with the Paxton cause. They believed that people living safely around Philadelphia did not understand what frontier families had experienced, and that the government protected native people while failing to protect settlers. Other Pennsylvanians were horrified by the murders and saw the Paxton Boys as a dangerous mob operating outside the law. The controversy became so significant that it produced an enormous pamphlet war in 1764, with writers and political cartoonists both defending and attacking the Paxton movement. One of the strongest opponents of the Paxton cause was Benjamin Franklin. In 1764, Franklin published a narrative of the late massacres in Lancaster County. He asked, "If an Indian injures me, does it follow that I may revenge that injury on all Indians?" His point was simple: retaliation against an entire race or population because of the actions of some members was not justice. Franklin went even further, arguing that the guilt of the murders would remain until justice was done against the killers. In February 1764, Matthew Smith and James Gibson, representing the frontier inhabitants, signed a declaration in remonstrance of the distressed and bleeding frontier inhabitants of the province of Pennsylvania. Rather than apologizing for what happened, the document presented the Paxton movement's grievances against the government. They argued that frontier settlers had been inadequately represented, and accused the colonial government of showing too much protection toward native communities while frontier settlers suffered. Despite the murders, none of the Paxton Boys were successfully prosecuted for killing the Conestoga. Instead, their movement actually grew. Hundreds of supporters eventually marched toward Philadelphia, where other native people had been placed under protection. Only a few years later, in 1768, 2 settlers named Frederick Stump and John Ironcutter murdered 10 Lenape and Mohican people, including women and children. This time, authorities arrested the killers, but an armed group broke into the jail and freed them. Again, the perpetrators escaped justice. The lack of punishment created a dangerous precedent.